Okay, YouTube, this is Acid Roots. I have got a Daughtry album review for you. So this is their second album, Leave This Town, and this is actually the one with the full band. When they recorded the Daughtry 2006 album, the thing was only Chris Daughtry was signed to the label, so the other band members were just temporary. But that one actually was more successful than this one. It went 4 times platinum and had over 5 singles released to it. But the thing about it was some of these were released to pop radio stations, meaning this was kind of a pop rock album, which basically means it's more accessible for, I'm not saying most people don't know that, but the thing is it's extremely watered down. And songs like It's Not Over, this charted on the rock charts, and this was one of their best hits, but it didn't have too many songs like it. And 3 songs wound up charting on the rock charts from Daughtry, but the rest of them were more focused on the Billboard and this commercial fanfare. So that obviously, this formula, as much as, not everyone may like it, meant that they were successful. And I think that had a lot to do with why it went 4 times platinum, because as opposed to uh, like a Three Doors Down album that sticks to the rock charts, the fact that they charted so many times on the Billboard, that tends to be the sort of stuff that most people listen to. So that meant that, more people were hearing it. It's showing up on more places. The promotion was pretty solid. Everyone seemed to know about it. But with this album, they took that pop approach and didn't even try to chart on the rock charts. So every single one of these songs basically hit the Billboard and the pop radio. So you're going to be hearing them with like Taylor Swift and Beyonce and these type people. But it did not they did not go as widespread this time. So really 3 singles came out on Leave This Town, and then on top of that they released their 3rd album in 2011. So they really did not take a break between 2006 and 2012. So there were singles for most of the time. But the first single was No Surprise, and when I first was paying attention to this project, I did not like this song at all. And it just took me some time to get used to, because for me, I'm just used to the metal and the screaming guitars and just the craziness that happens. But, when that doesn't happen, it's difficult for, rock becomes a different platform. And it kind of makes you wonder where you're going to listen to this sort of music. So, between that, I just did not, I finally figured out, this is just kind of backyard music, but just a little bit more relaxed, not as festive and not as outrageous, but still, just some wholesome and kind of firm music. But really, they do this way too much, and the sheer amount of rock, even the songs where the guitar is more prevalent, are still not ferocious songs. But the second single, Life After You, I think that one was kind of acoustic. I mean, that just had a even more so relaxed tone than No Surprise did. And then September was the same way. All 3 of these songs are not fierce. It's the whole thing, they're just relaxed and more kind of focused inward more so than outward. And, upon that, it kind of becomes, well, where the hell are you supposed to listen to Daughtry then? What's the idea? And it kind of feels almost in a almost romantic and more warm-hearted scenario versus, reckless and thoughtless. Just it has more meaning to it. But if you can get past that, this is some pretty solid rock. So that's those other 2 singles, Life After You and September. Once again, they're not fierce, but there are some fierce songs on here. So songs like Every Time You Turn Around and What I Meant to Say are the most high octane songs on here. And then Ghost of Me and Open Up Your Eyes are kind of traces of post grunge. I mean, that's about as close as it gets. I feel like a song like It's Not Over, their first single, I was kind of hoping for another song like that, but they don't really do it's just faint. That's the whole thing. I wish that they would have chosen Open Up Your Eyes instead of September or something like that. It just would have made it a little bit better because to me it just felt kind of jagged as far as what angle that they were trying to get at. I mean, I know that they wanted to go the pop rock approach, but at the same time, uh, the success probably could have been better if, it just felt like these were soft men that liked this album. Men that were kind of aiming to be in a relationship and take a load off versus, hey, I'm feeling excited and energized right now. It felt more of like a kind of toned down project. That's just what you have to deal with this album is it's very toned down. But as far as this excited they get, it's definitely every time you turn around and what I meant to say. But I did like the faint traces of post grunge, and then there was another song in Learn My Lesson, so I wound up liking 6 out of 12. And I'm gonna give this album a 5.5 out of 10 just because I really wanted a single. I mean, No Surprise is decent, but I still would like for myself to like it more. I almost wound up liking Life After You, but this was a little bit too tame for me, and I'm just in a different mindset than the band is. So that was the thing there. But 5.5 out of 10, me liking 6 out of 12, I'm gonna tell you the 6 songs that you need to hear. So they are No Surprise, Every Time You Turn Around, What I Meant to Say, Open Up Your Eyes, Ghost of Me, and Learn My Lesson. Now, beyond those songs, it almost feels like they're kind of going for country rock in some traces. I mean, he's got a voice that really sounds like something you'd hear out of a country singer. Just the way that he sings, it's not nails. It's just not fierce like a regular rock star. It feels more like he's a different type of rock star. So that's the whole thing. You can tell when you hear the lyrics in his voice. But uh, so that's what to expect from the rest of the project. So the social score, I will give it a 6.5 out of 10, and that just means how well it plays around your friends if they don't know the music. Like I said, this is very calm. This is more for guys and girls versus just men alone, and that's one thing to consider is that. So that it kind of means it's just not as fierce and ferocious. But can this record be topped? I think the answer is if it just would have had like one song that just was a smash hit, was completely gnarled up, I probably would have fucked with this more. I mean, it needed a song like It's Not Over, in other words, just one, at least one or two. 4 singles would have worked, taken off September and put on another song in its place as a single. The Future, they dropped an album, I think, in 2014, something like that. So they'll probably be back any time now. I'm actually thinking they should be back this year. But all right, subscribe for more fun.